All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is 9-5 using the distributive property. Example 1, factor 12a squared plus 16a. First thing we need to do is find the greatest common factor. So step 1, find. I knew what you meant, we're good. All right, so between 12 and 16, what's the largest number that goes into 12 and 16? 4. I like the sounds of that, 4. If I have 2 A's here and 1 A here, what's the maximum I can pull out? That is my GCF. So now what we're going to do is take our original problem, 12A squared plus 16A, and we're going to divide each of those by our GCF, which is 4A. So we know that 4A is our greatest common factor. So I'm putting it outside the parentheses. Because like I said, instead of doing the distributive property, we're actually pulling it apart. So what is 12 divided by 4? 3. Now I have 2 A's on top and 1 on bottom. How many are left? 3. If I have 2 on top and 1 on bottom, because really what's going on is I'm just going to go over here. I have 2 A's on top, 1 on bottom. Those cancel out, correct? So just 1 left. So 16 divided by 4 is, and what happens to the A's? They cancel out.
Oh, this is on the test. I didn't know that.
Yes, Daniel. All right, we are way too loud today. Yes, because look, we have 2 on top and 1 on the bottom, so this would be a squared divided by a to the 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Yes, so you subtract them. All right, so can I check my answer? What is 4a times 3a?
12a squared.
What's 4a times 4?
16a.
So is it right?
Yes.
Is that what you call that? All right, example 2. 20 x squared y squared. All right, please have a seat. Minus 45 x squared y minus 35 x squared. It's a little more challenging. Good thing we're smart. All right, let's start off. What's the greatest common factor between 20, 45, and 35? Just 5. So that's not bad. Does each one have 2 x's? Yeah. So does that mean I can pull an x squared out of each of them? Yeah. All right. This is 9-5, yes. Does each of them have a y? No. So I can't pull any out. You have to be in all of them, otherwise you get none. So now we're going to divide this by 5x squared, divide this by 5x squared, and divide this by 5x squared. So this is what we divided by, so it goes outside of our parentheses. What is 20 divided by 5? 4. Perfect. All right, x squared, so what, like Daniel said earlier, the 2 minus 2 is 0, and anything raised to the 0 power is 1. So what happens to my x squares? They cancel out. Very good. Does the y squared have anything crossing it out? So it just comes along for the ride. Negative 45 divided by 5 is positive or negative? Negative. If the signs are different, it's negative. What's going to happen to the x squares? They cancel out. And then what happens to the y on top? We just drop it down. Negative 35 divided by 5 is
Negative 7.
-7. And what happens to my x squares? Can I check this to make sure it's right?
Yes.
5 times 4 is 20. Was there any, am I multiplying the x squared by anything here? So it's there. So 5x squared times 4y squared would be 20x squared y squared. 5 times -9 is -45. We have our x squared, we have our y. 5 times -7 is -35, and we have our x squared. Congratulations, you did it correctly. And that was on your practice test today?
Yeah.
Not that hard, is it? Once you know how to do it.
They had to distribute and stuff, and there was another one like this, and they had one on polygons.
Well, the good news is, yes, Emma? Yes. The good news is we have to learn about quadratics, which are parabolas.
That was on there too.
But see, we haven't covered that yet, so I don't know why that was on there.
Oh, it's the ELC.
It was an EOC practice.
Yeah.
So we have to do quadratics, and there's one little brief section after that. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. And then guess what we're going to do the rest of the course? Review. So don't panic yet. So, all right. This is called a check. We switched it up from try to check. I don't know. I must have been making stuff up. I don't, because it doesn't say try it in the book. It says check. Maybe my old textbook, or maybe.
You go back and forth from like.
I know. I don't know why, Nye. It just happens.
You never know.
As long as you know how to do it, that's more important. All right, there's actually two of them. A really simple one. What's 11 times 11?
3. I mean, oh, 121.
Hold on. How did we get 3 on 11 times 11?
Looking at the 3.
I thought you said
33.
All right, 33n cubed minus 121n is your first problem. And that one was way too easy for you, so we had to come up with another one. 14 a squared b squared c minus 6 ac squared plus 10 ac. So take a few minutes and try that on your own, please. Yes, I can. Thank you for asking nicely. Yep, that's plenty enough. All right, what's your question? All right, one more minute. And then I'm going to not so randomly call on someone to do the problem. All right, 30 seconds. You got it. Good. Thanks, Gabe. Mirsad, thank you for volunteering to do letter A for me. What goes into 33 and 121? 11. Can I pull any ends out of both sides? Well, isn't there an N here and 3 here? So I think I can pull an N out. He was correct. All right, so now we're going to divide this by 11N and divide this by 11N. So 33 divided by 11 is?
3n to the square.
Mirsad, that's cool how you changed the sound of your voice like that and made it sound stereo. That's really cool. So fortunately, you are correct. So 3 minus 1, I believe, is 2, but I don't have a calculator in front of me. All right, Mirsad, the only Mirsad that's in the back. I appreciate the energy and the enthusiasm, but he wants to solve this one, he told me. I could see it on the look on his face. Negative 121 divided by 11 is? And what happens to the ends?
Go away.
Thank you, you are correct, good job. See, I knew you could do it, I had faith. All right, William, thank you for volunteering to do the next one. William, you're up. William, what is the greatest common multiple between 14, 6, and 10? C is not good. C does not go into 14, 6, or 10. He's got it. He's smart. What is the only number that goes into besides 1? What's the only number that goes into 14, 6, and 10? 2. Thank you. And can I pull an A out of each term?
Yeah.
Thank you, William. Can I pull a B out of each term? Nope. Can I pull a C out of each term? Yes. So 2AC is my greatest common factor. All right, so we're going to divide this by 2AC, divide this by 2AC, and divide this by 2AC. 14 divided by 2 is 7. If I have 2 and get rid of 1, how many do I have left? 1. The B squareds, do they magically disappear? Nope, they're still there, but what happens to my C? They canceled out. All right, negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 3. What happens to my A's? They cancel out. If I have 2 and get rid of 1, how many C's do I have left? All right, 10 divided by 2 is, and what happens to the A's and the C's? So that is my answer right there. Not super duper difficult. Bryson, we good? Pretty simple. I love your shoes too, they're awesome. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have good news and I have bad news. Bad news is this is a word problem. Good news is we only care about the important parts of the word problem, so we're not writing the word problem. All right, here we go. I'm just going to read it to you, and then we're going to solve it together. The 1980s eruption of Washington's Mount St. Helens had an initial blast with a velocity of 400 feet per second. The expression 440t minus 16t squared models the height of a rock erupted from the volcano after t seconds. So really, the only thing we need is what? That right there, correct? And then we're factoring it. So let's do that.
This was a question on the test.
It was? I assume you didn't know how to do it? Or did you? You know, Mount St. Helens, it's in Washington.
Didn't they go with the same numbers, just different volcanoes?
Let's say OT.
It says 440t minus 16t squared. All right, what's the hardest part about this problem? Figuring out what your GCF is between 16 and 440. The first thing, when I was in my classroom earlier and tried this, I tried 16 and 440. Did it go? No. I think more, bigger. bigger, I think.
Wait, it's 4, because, 40 times 11.
Cause it can't be six, and it can't be eight.
Why can't it be 8?
It can be eight, actually.
I personally tried, like I said, I tried 16 first, it didn't work, and then I tried 8. Does 8 go into 440? Let's see.
I think,
Yeah, times five.
That gives me 40, 58 times.
Hold on.
you don't know how to do long division?
I do,
You
I
have
do
learned
have
that in
that.
3rd grade?
In my Algebra 2 honors class, we do it with numbers and letters. Mason, she doesn't want you that close to her. Have a seat. I could tell by the look of fear in her eyes. Someone's out right now, as soon as they get back. All right, so 8T, not 80, but 8T is our GCF. All right, can we focus on this, please? All right, so 440 divided by 8 is 58. Negative 16 divided by 8 is, and if I have 2 on top and 1 on bottom, how many do I have left? Just 1. That's your final answer. That was not super duper difficult. The only thing hard about that was figuring out that 8 was your GCF. Which probably what I would have done on that is, what are my factors of 16? 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. All right, can we refocus, please? Yes.
Oh, wait, no, never mind.
I would have tried 16. Did you have a calculator on this problem on the test today?
Yeah.
All right, so I would have done 440 divided by 16, and it doesn't go in evenly. So then I would have tried 8, and 8 does go in evenly. That's what I would have done.
Because, like, when I first saw it, I thought 4, because, like,
But that's not your greatest common, so it would have worked, but not your greatest. All right, let's move on. We have one more thing left, and we have 15 minutes. Tristan, you okay today? Time change getting you? Oh, I'm sorry. I woke up at 5:15 because I normally get up at 6:15, so the time change got me.
You got me to see. I was up at, like, 3, and it was usually 4.
It was yesterday. Normally I would say that's not necessary, but I'll let it stand today. What now?
During school, not overnight.
I agree.
No, it should be overnight.
All right, that's a U. That is a U. That is a V. It'll come back, don't worry. See? It's like magic, it's mathemagic. 6U plus 5B
Did I go yet?
yes. All right. We only have a few minutes left. We have 2 examples and a try it, and then I'm just going to show you one problem. It's not really a try it or a check or anything. It's just the book messing with us because they hate us. So this is called factor by grouping. First thing I would do is cover up the second 2 terms. So let's pretend those are not there right now. What is the GCF between 2UV and 6U? 2U. So 2U.
That means, we going to 2.
No, not evenly. All right, and then 2U times what is 2UV? So really I'm dividing this by 2U like we've been doing and dividing this by 2U. What's 6U divided by 2U? 3U?
No.
Just 3. Cyrus says it's just 3.
Good job.
Now I'm going to cover up the first two terms and look at the second two terms. What is common between 5B and 15? No. Wow, Carla, time change got you too. All right, so 5, positive 5, correct? All right, so we're going to divide this by 5 and divide this by 5. 5B divided by 5 is simply, and 15 divided by 5. All right, question, do we have the same thing in both parentheses? So that means we did it correctly. Now, we don't need two sets of parentheses, like we don't need two of people getting out of their chair randomly walking. So we're only going to bring down one of them. But we are nice. We are a wonderful, yes. Yes. We are very nice people, so it's not fair that V plus 3 has a home and 2U plus 5 does not have a home, is it? So let's give 2U plus 5 a home. And congratulations, you just factored by grouping. But it only works when you have 4 terms. Notice we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't honestly know. I've only seen factor by grouping with 4. I'm not going to say no, much like I've never seen Bigfoot, but I don't know. I doubt it. So, yeah, actually, I bet it could, but probably very rare. All right, back on task. First step, x cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x plus 14. Step 1 is to do what to my second terms? My second two terms. Cover those. We don't care about those right now. What is a GCF between x cubed and 7x squared? X. How many? Well, I have 3 here and I have 2 here, so I can probably take 2 out. All right, so we still have those covered. X squared times what is x cubed? X. X squared plus what is 7x squared? Perfect. Now, let's look at the next two. What is the greatest common factor between 2x and 14? All right, so if I divide that by 2 and I divide that 2, it's going to give me x plus 7. Because the 2's canceled out, right, Carla? All right, do we have the same thing in both parentheses? All right, so let's write down one of them. Doesn't matter what order. X plus 7 gets a home, and x squared plus 2 gets a home. That is a t. TW plus 10t minus 2w minus 20. Please try and get a correct answer, then ask your neighbor if they have the same correct answer as you. If they don't, what happens? He's wrong. So explain to him why he's wrong, and it's not you. They smell? That's interesting.
And you have to take away all the key, right?
All right, 30 seconds, please. Probably. Let's find out. Yeah, we'll look at it in a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about done for today. All right, what is common between TW and 10T? Not today. All right, question. What is common between negative 2W and negative 20? I personally would have pulled out negative 2 because what would happen if I pulled out positive 2? I would have had a negative W minus 10, and is that the same? No, so we need to pull out a negative 2. So if I divide that by negative 2, divide that by negative 2, that's going to be W plus 10. Naya, I assume you had negative W minus 10?
W minus 10, yeah.
All right, yeah, so make sure you pull out the negative of both. All right, final answer. All right, I have bad news for you. The book doesn't like us. This next problem's actually hard. But all you need to do is stare at the board, write it down, pretend you're paying attention, and we'll do it together. And by together, I mean I'll do it.
I love it.
All right, I'm not joking. Please pay attention. This is a hard problem. Thank you, Mason. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you're still sitting. I'm being honest. Does anyone want to try it? Or do you just want me to? Carla, what should we do? All right, hold on. We're done after this problem. And you don't have an assignment today, so just, Connor, face forward, pay attention, please. Sorry, someone poopied. That's not my fault. All right, Carla, back to you.
The greatest common factor between them is 3.
3 what?
M.
So that's going to give me 7m minus what? Minus p. Okay. Holy what? All right, Carla, what can I factor out of those two? Okay. Uh-oh, we have an issue. Actually, that m shouldn't be there, should it? It canceled out. 4 minus 7. All right, we have an issue. Is 7 minus p the same as p minus 7? So what do we have to do? Pop it. But the problem is, if I was to switch the order, right here we would have 3m negative p plus 7, and then we would have p minus 7. Is negative p and positive p the same thing? If you think it is, I'll give you I'll give you negative $20 and you give me $20, because that's what you're telling me. It's the same thing. All right, so what do we have to do? Not pull out not pull out a positive 4, but we should have pulled out a negative 4. So let's go back to this line right here. 3m, 7 minus p, I'm going to pull out a negative 4. And then if I divide that by negative 4 and divide that by negative 4, positive 4p divided by negative 4p is negative p. Negative 28 divided by negative 4 is 7. What is the best way to write this? The most correct way of writing this?
3m minus 4 in parentheses. And then you do the 7 plus p.
Should I do 7?
Plus 7, my bad.
I would do negative p plus 7. That's more mathematically correct. But the only thing you need to be careful of is, obviously we're all smart enough to know that we had the sign wrong. So instead of pulling out a positive, we pulled out a negative.